Las deportaciones masivas han impactado a la comunidad hispana. En respuesta a sus preocupaciones, la Casa Blanca organizó una reunión a través de la Oficina de Fe, a la que asistieron 70 líderes y pastores hispanos. Allí, los líderes convocados recibieron información oficial sobre las deportaciones y otros temas de interés para la comunidad hispana. Diversas figuras prominentes de la administración Trump encabezaron esta reunión, como la pastora Paula White, asesora principal de la Oficina de Fe y colaboradora cercana del presidente Trump durante más de 2 décadas. En esta reunión también estuvieron presentes Jennifer Korn, directora de la Oficina de Fe, Lynn Patton, directora de Relaciones con Minorías, Troy Edgar, subsecretario del Departamento de Seguridad Nacional, y Sebastian Gorka, asistente adjunto del presidente. Y representando a la comunidad hispana asistieron miembros de organizaciones como el National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, Hispanic 100, Latinos for America First y el ministerio At His Feet. Bianca Gracia, fundadora de Latinos for America First, fue una de las líderes hispanas invitadas a esta reunión en la Casa Blanca. Gracia formó parte de la campaña presidencial de Donald J. Trump y recaudó fondos en el comité inaugural de la dupla Trump-Vance. Gracia es presidente de la organización Latinos por Trump y trabaja en la difusión política entre las comunidades hispanas. En esta entrevista que tuve con ella en Desde El Capitolio, Bianca Gracia destaca la importancia de que la Casa Blanca exponga directamente sus medidas sobre las deportaciones ante la comunidad hispana y por qué ella siente que el mensaje del gobierno de Trump a través de su Oficina de Fe deja un sentimiento esperanzador. Esta fue nuestra conversación. Bianca Gracia, founder of Latinos for America First. Such a pleasure to have you here in Epoch Times. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Pachi. Thank you for the invitation.
So, Bianca, you were, a few days ago, you were at the White House with Hispanic leaders and religious leaders as well, talking about a very important topic for the Hispanic community. Could you tell us a little bit more about?
Yes, we were invited on a private invitation. About 70 Hispanic leaders and pastors from across the country came to discuss, some of the misinformation and fear that's going on in our communities regarding immigration, obviously the mass deportations, as well as talk about, the lack of representation of Hispanics in the administration that can help take the message back out to the community of what's really occurring at the White House and what the president is doing and not doing, and the truth to come out. So we were addressing those concerns, and it was very important, as well as meeting with the new office, the faith office in the White House. It's extremely important, and I think our community doesn't know that that has been established. And so we had a very good discussion yesterday with a lot of the leaders.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what this misinformation is about mass deportation that has been affecting and putting a little bit of fear in the Hispanic community?
Yes, so about 2 weeks ago we had a call regarding obviously all of the misinformation. The community believes that the ICE was coming into schools, they're taking kids, they're picking up people at churches, that pastors were running around going, what do we do to protect ourselves? Or, is ICE going to come in here and disrupt our Sunday service? There was a lot of misinformation regarding of who they're picking up and who they're, not picking up. And so that needed to be clarified, and that's why they brought us into the White House, to make sure that we understood what exactly was happening and what's not happening. And so they definitely, we had somebody from the DHS, and they brought in message from Tom Homan saying, we are absolutely not going into any schools. We have not had to go into any churches. Right now we are specifically going after terrorists and those really bad criminals that have murdered or that are part of the gangs, that are drugs or cartels. I mean, we are going after the worst of the worst right now, and so they wanted to make sure that message was out and that they heard it, that we could hear it directly from them, and they told us that, look, we haven't had that situation yet, but we're not going to say that it may not happen. If we have to look for a criminal and he's trying to hide in a church, we're going to to go get him in the church, but we do want the pastors to know that we're not just going to run into your church and disrupt the service. We have to get 2 levels of supervisory approval. We have to have a very strategic plan, very calm, because we don't want to instill fear in the church or in the community. We are going to go in and get the person that we need out, and we're not going to go in there and round up everybody. And that was something that was being passed around in the community, that ICE was going to go into the churches and was just going to round up everybody and sift them from who's illegal and who's illegal. And that was all big lies.
And also a very important thing to emphasize is that the term of criminal is not about just being a member of a terrorist group or being a murderer or drug trafficker. It also involves the court dates that some Hispanic or some migrants don't attend.
Yeah, if the illegal, so that is something else that we did get verification of, that there has been some incidents where some, that social media is out there and saying they picked up this mom and her kids are left behind and they're deporting these poor single mothers. What they're not telling anybody is that the mother had a warrant for her arrest because they missed their court date. The court date is important to show up to because it's where you go present your cause and your case about why you should be in the United States, why you need to be in the United States. It's important, and so when you break that law, that's also criminal. So you're not only just here illegally, now you didn't even show up to the court date that you promised and swore at the point of entry that you would show up to the court date. So they also had some outstanding warrants for people that they are picking up. So those could mean, yes, maybe you didn't murder somebody, but you did commit a crime, and so it's still criminal. And so we needed to clarify those things.
And when we were talking this before the interview, we were talking also about the importance of having the Hispanic representation and this first, let's say, reach from the Trump administration within the faith office from the White House, which for Hispanics, religion and faith is such an important element of our community, of our lives, of our family. So how do you think that opens the path to solving this issue?
So I think it's a very important one. I walked away feeling very, very confident and positive that the president has opened up an office, a faith office, not in the Eisenhower building, but actually in the West Wing where he is at. It was extremely important to him to have a faith office there that faith leaders could come in and out of, that prayer could, be taking place at the White House, that as decisions are being made, prayer is involved, and they want to also extend it to where he has a vision to have a faith representative, faith leader in every agency that is a federal agency. That is one of his things. And so as a community of faith, I think it's very promising to know that our president wants this country to return to our faith. And so my message to the Hispanic community is stop running around in fears of the devil. We have to know that God is bigger, and we have to solve the immigration, situation, because too many illegals have come in here. And the issue is that in the last 4 years, we had a lot of criminal illegals, a lot of terrorists that were coming in from 170 countries. It's not South America and Central America and Mexico that was affecting us. It's 170 countries. And they're people that don't want to see good in America, right? They don't care of America. They don't talk about the Hamas people and the, Trinidad, or they don't talk about the Chinese, the communists that are coming in. They sent a bunch of their military men through the open border. And so those are the people that this administration is really seeking to deport right now. That's a priority. It's a very high priority. But I want our Hispanic community to know that not to live in fear. We know the power of prayer. And if the president has opened up an office of faith, he believes in the power of prayer. So I think that we as difficult as a subject, and then mass deportations, and as this hits all of America, whether you're Hispanic or not, we have to fix the immigration problem. And two wrongs don't make a right. So as hard as it may be, people are going to have to return to their country and come here the right way. That's inevitable. We have to fix that. But I believe that because faith is at the forefront of this administration, I believe that because of our faith in it, we pray that we can overcome almost every situation. And that's the promising thing that I left with. So, yeah, it was a beautiful thing that we were allowed to pray. We were allowed to sing worship in the White House yesterday as we, prepared to speak about such difficult, issues right now that's affecting the community. And so that's where we're at. It was extremely important.
And as a last question, what do you foresee for the Hispanic community in the upcoming months about this topic of mass deportation? What would you say?
Well, Kristi Noem, the Secretary of DHS, has made it very well known that there is an app that we are asking people to register. Now, there was misinformation. People thought, oh, I just register in the app and I'm going to be okay. What they were not being told, and this is again the lack of representation in the administration that's able to carry out this message to our Hispanic community, that the one thing about registering in this app is that when you register in the app, you're going to be given a date by when you have to exit the United States and you have to go back to your country. But because you're now in the system, there's going to be an easier path for you to actually come here the right way. So you won't have to wait forever, but you'll have to, you'll have some type of priority to fix everything and come back legally. And so that is something that the community didn't know. They just thought registering, great, we've registered, we're going to comply, but they didn't understand that they were going to have to self-deport. And so that's one of the things. Now the really important message with that is that not only are you being asked to self-deport, it's that the fact that if you do not register and you get in a situation where you come across and you get picked up and you're going to be deported now, and because you didn't register, now you will never be able to come back to the United States. And that is a message that people from the community, from the Hispanic community, and all the illegals in this country, because there may be some Chinese that fled from the communist, right, in China. So it affects like a lot of different people, but they need to know exactly how this is working so that they don't then the worst thing is they're all registering and then you get told you have to leave and then you're like, wait, what? And you made no preparations. So it's important that they understand how this is all really working. And so it was important to have the faith leaders, because the faith leaders have the trust of the community, and we want to equip our faith leaders with the correct information and the truth so we don't make liars of them, because the worst thing we can do is send faith leaders back into the community giving a message, and then all of a sudden they're like, but the pastor lied. We don't ever want to put a pastor in that position. So we want to make sure that they're equipped with the correct information. It was extremely important for them to open the doors and for them to invite us. And they did tell us this was just the first one. We have a lot of issues to work through, and we will be inviting you back to come and keep continuing to discuss these issues, because then these people who've been hired by the administration can then go back to our president and say, we held a meeting today and these are the concerns right now. This is what we tackled. This is what we need to, still work on policy. This was some feedback, and so it was extremely important. It was very promising.
Bianca Gracia, founder of Latinos for America First. It was such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Esa fue Bianca Gracia compartiendo su perspectiva vital sobre cómo la administración Trump está abordando las preocupaciones de la comunidad hispana a través de la Oficina de Fe. Ahora queremos saber su opinión. ¿Qué opina sobre este encuentro de la Casa Blanca con líderes hispanos para abordar estos problemas que afectan a nuestra comunidad? ¿Cree que estas iniciativas mejorarán la comunicación entre la administración Trump y la comunidad hispana? Comparta sus opiniones en los comentarios debajo. Y si esta conversación le ha parecido informativa, interesante o incluso inspiradora, no olvide darle like al video y compartirla con toda su familia y amigos para mantener a nuestra comunidad hispana bien informada. Lo invito también a suscribirse a nuestro canal Desde el Capitolio para más noticias y entrevistas como esta desde Washington, D.C. Su apoyo nos ayuda enormemente a seguir trayendo contenido relevante y también a profundizar en los temas que más importan a nuestra comunidad. Nos vemos en el próximo episodio. Buenas noches.